book. It was challenging, the first one.
Because he wanted to be in the place of love.
Somebody came up with the idea.
And he was 100% accurate in his prediction.
Selenium, iodine, or calcium, you don't have to know any of that stuff. All you have to be able to do is chew.
This next gentleman has been my very, very bestest, greatest friend for so many years, and we have a lot of fun when he's up here. And today, I'm all about giving props and all about giving respect. I have to say that this man, with his grace, with his humor, with his love, has accomplished so much to educate so many people. There have been movies made about this gentleman. He is a best-selling author that has sold millions of books. We would never have the phrase "go into the light" if it was not for this man. His original near-death experiences were originally investigated by forensic psychiatrist, which is kind of an oxymoron, but forensic psychiatrist Dr. Raymond Moody, and he has done more to help those in transition than I think anybody on the planet. He set up a national organization called Compassion in Action, CIA. He visits veterans associations, hospitals all across the world. He speaks anywhere people ask him to speak. We needed somebody to give a talk at a Burger King, and he showed up. It was just fantastic. And he is, once again, somebody that deserves a phenomenal amount of respect. And most people do not understand how much this gentleman has changed the consciousness simply because he has such a good sense of humor and is so easygoing about him. His foot hurts and his hip hurts. He's the mascot for his college. He literally is the rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. This man is so mean that he died 5 times and God didn't want him.
Oh my God! Oh, Sean, that's
This man is so huge. He's not only been on Oprah, he's been on Oprah. So, ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic individual, a person that has changed the mindset, a person that has literally taken death, smacked it in the face, and wrestled it to the ground. Dannion Brinkly.
I'm standing up for that.
Take it, buddy.
What was the question?
Just go do your thing. You have more experience probably with going down to the Yucatan and Chichen Itza and Palenque, and you have so much experience. You lead tours to Egypt. I mean, almost every year. So you have
any place they have a death cult, I go.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, it's well, what John was talking about, the mythology of the Anubis. The Anubis weighs the heart against the Ma'at of the feather. And then if your soul is found wanting, he feeds you to Baba the Soul Eater, who chews you up and kind of poops you out, which is why the world is a crappy place.
Okay, I got it. Okay, none of that ever happens, everybody. None of that ever happens, really? And I agree.
A big dog with a
I like all those mythology. I like all those mythologies myself. But watch, it's what John is also saying. Look, every 25,800 years, our little galaxy called the Milky Way makes a processional through the constellation. Right now we're at a period of what we call the Piscean Age going into the Aquarian Age. The last 5,000, this is all Mayan culture. And the Mayans gathered it from a lot of different places. But the Mayans and the Olmecs created a culture based on a 25,800 year cycle of our solar system in a galaxy called the Milky Way in the universe. We're in the last 150 years of a 5,000 year cycle. That means from polarity shifts and earth shifts, it means that what's above the water can go below the water, except the Mayans don't predict that this time. They predict an electromagnetic shift, and they're predicting the nature of the solar flares in 2010 and 2011 would have completely prepared the consciousness. And like Sean David said, everybody, we are watching remarkable change. The illusion of our credit disappeared in 2 months. A 40-year history of our financial system disappeared. And if you look at your 401k and your pension and all that you save for, it's gone. Because we trusted something that wasn't real.
Amen.
And we've trusted things that aren't real. And why you come to the New Life Expo, and why we associate each other and we look at the booths upstairs, is we have to find what's real. This is what's real. You are a great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being. You have dignity, you have direction, and you have purpose. Because somewhere in the heavens, they believe that there is nobody better than you to uniquely inhabit this earth at this particular transition period to just be yourself, naturally being who you are. These illusions that we're living in that now create the greatest amount of stress never were real anyway. You're a spiritual being, not a credit rating. Okay? Now, that story, and you come here and you listen to change the perspective and to feel what's real. That's what each of us are trying to do. Now, this Nubus fairy crocodile crapper that John and Sean were talking about, so please come to my lecture. I'm more fun there. But the measure of this life, when you enter the final stage, when you lift out of your body and you go down this tunnel and you come into this place of light, and you're met by this system or this being, and it's really a system, everybody, and this will happen to every single one of you no matter what. You see your life pass before you in a 360-degree panorama. You have missed absolutely nothing. You know how many nose was in the hair of the, how many hairs was in the nose of the doctor who pulled you from your mother. You know everything that ever happened. You watch it from a second-person point of view as if you were your own best friend, and then you literally become every person that you ever encounter, and you feel the direct results of your interaction between you and that person. So like we're all saying, the way to truly persevere in these changing times is first know you were chosen to be here because divinity believes you are the best there ever could be as this system, a new age, is being born. Okay? Now, the meaning of life. When you get...
Here it is. Take a breath.
Here it is. When you get to the end of this panoramic life of you, there is a system of judgment. And the system of judgment goes like this. This is my interpretation. If God couldn't come today and God sent you, in the life you just reviewed, what difference did God make? So it's about you expressing your divinity. And no matter what's going on and how crazy it is, as this new system of government comes into place and this new nationalized one world order comes into place, we adapt to it and deal with it. But we never lose ourselves. Because if God couldn't come today and God sent us, in the life you just reviewed, what difference did your divinity make? If you hold on to that, kindness becomes a natural art. And a part of this transition, everybody, is to get us to look at our neighbors. How can we help? How can we care? How can we hope? How can we inspire? How can we make safe? Because that's the biggest part. This world is going to keep doing whatever it's doing, and it's evolving just like we're evolving. But that can't be the greater part. We're part is adapting to what it is and remembering, if divinity couldn't come today and it sent us, let this day be the measure of how many smiles, how much courtesy, how much care, how much concern, and making 2 or 3 new friends. And keeping that connection, because it is our love of our spiritual identity that brings the power that protects and transforms this earth from quantum theory, from electrodynamic theory, from consciousness, from mythologies that we've all heard. So I've been going to the Yucatan for 40 years. And I became fixated with pyramid structures, and I've been everywhere in the world there is a pyramid. And those entities or those structures, if you look at not how magnificent the structure is or how brilliantly it was engineered and built, you look at exactly where on the planet it is. And then you look at longitude and latitude, and then you look at electromagnetic grids, which are created by geophysicists, not by some guy in the mountains contemplating his navel eating coca leaves, but a damn geophysicist. And these buildings and structures sit on those exact lines that can balance out this energy flux that we go through. So somebody long before we got here knew this. Someone put this on the earth, and someone sees that the markers and the boundaries are still here to balance whatever happens. The universe is doing what she's doing. What we have to do is remember to do what we're supposed to be doing. If divinity couldn't come today, and divinity has sent us, In the life we review today, what difference did divinity make? And it doesn't matter what happens after that. No one dies and no one goes to hell. So if you know you don't die and you know don't go to hell, then I don't care if the planet flips over. I don't care what it does. What are they going to do? Kill me? What big deal? Who's scared of that? Thank you.
There you go. Can I get a big rousing amen?
Amen.
That's right. The Dannion. One more time for the Dannion.
The Mayans, if you look at what the Mayans say,
Yeah.
they don't say it's going to be the
Take the mic because it's on, so it records.
If you listen, the 2012 theory comes from a combination of the Olmec Toltec Mayan calendar.
Aztec as well.
Well, not Aztec is a different structure.
Okay.
Okay. Well, one of them is in 3, one is in 13, and one of them's in a set of 7.
13 to 20.
Okay, so what the Mayans, who we're basing this 2012 business off of, they have never said it. The Mayans have never said 2012 is the end of anything. It's just like Sean said, and just like Jill said, it's the beginning of something. In order for the new to live, the old must pass away. So anytime you hear that, 2012 is the end of something, it's the end of something but the beginning of something else. And I think it was a Frenchman and 2 other white guys who translated the Mayan technology to say it was the end of time. But the Mayans never say it. So a new world is being born and an old one is passing away. And you can't get rid of this one fast enough to suit me. Right. All right.
Let me.
Okay.
Jetsons fans out there.
The Love Muffin said there'll be same-sex marriage in June. Okay, so there's a chance for us, James. Okay, so
The love that dare not speak its name.
Okay, when you're talking about Atlantean energy, Michael, you're talking about mechanical energy. You're talking about mind-matter interfacing. Cyber electronic technology is Atlantean. That's where this all operates from. So what we'll see is advancement in this kind of weaponry. There'll be the release and exposure of some type of weaponry. We're now looking at the new MRI systems to scan for lie detection and brain activity. All this is Atlantean stuff. They sought to create mechanical operating equipment, some good, some bad. But what we have to watch from now to June is the G20 summit. I beg you to pay attention to every single press release that comes out of the G20 summit. It will lay down and pay attention to what the Chinese and the Russians are doing, trying to create a basket currency so that the dollar loses its reserve power and we become France. Now they have put this.
The Chinese made that announcement Monday that they don't
and
want
the
they don't want
Russians
the dollar
did it 2
anymore.
months ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
this is going to be the battle that we'll watch for. The new systems of accountability, the brand new rules and regulations, cyberspace, all plastic, no cash. This is all Atlantean business too. The next thing you pay attention to is the weaponry the Israelis say they're going to use against the Iranians. When you listen that they can have a nuclear Iran, and how do they knock out communications? Anytime you have an atomic explosion or a nuclear explosion, it puts out a pulse beam that deactivates copper. So anything that's a chip, anything that produces electrons for transfer of information, they have a bomb made that you don't need now to blow up with a nuclear weapon. You can just blow out the circuitry. This is all Atlantean technology. It's all cyber warfare, like James is talking about. Now, well, the positive, but I don't, listen, if it's going to happen no matter what.
Good for you, Michael.
If it's going to happen no matter what, it's making sure you're making the right decisions as you look at it, because I believe there's a rise of a third party, and what Sean made reference to, the third party is us. Yes. We are the people we've been waiting for, everybody.
There you go, yeah.
And I think I'm a little Lemurian myself. I have a little Atlantean.
Lemuria, yay,
I have a little Lemurian, a little Atlantean attitude. But I'm not against anything. I'm for stuff. But when you watch Growing Organs, where we saw Pegasus, where we seen minotaurs, these animals, a combination.
I was going to ask you, genetics is mostly Atlantean stuff, right? All this.
That's what I was getting, the last point. When you look at these winged horses, all these things in mythology, beast of burden, these were another Atlanteans. The Atlanteans were the genetic engineers. So one of the positive sides of being Atlantean technology is the regrowing of organs. We will master in 10 years that anything that goes wrong with you, we can grow a brand new one, stem-celled, okay, stem-celled, cloning, this will happen. You'll be able to grow a brand new organ, and all this will come from an energetic medicine. I think our great revolution, everybody, that we should watch for is the day because of the rise of quantum mechanics. If quantum mechanics is in place, that means everything is reduced to energy. It has to have a proton, electron, and a neutron, or it does not work from ghost to healing. It does not work in this level of dimension without operating in that sphere of energy. But nanotechnology is robots. It's machinery that on the molecular level constructs itself. So when you start to talk about singularity, the possibility of reconstructing yourself as if to clone and reproduce yourself is now within our grasp. That's already here. The thing about nanotechnologies is you have to start determining how long you plan to live. How long you're planning on to put yourself into place for how long you want to exist in this plane. And that's very important. And one more thing about Michael. I have my great prediction. I believe that when we go from analog to digital television, when this happens in June, and we go from analog to digital, high compressed digital transmission called HD on your television, the rise of electro voice phenomena and video voice and video picture phenomena will boom. You will see creatures beings walking across your television set. You'll see them on your computers, I know on your iPhones, because a spiritual being or a being in another level harmonizes with the frequency that it exists in. How consciousness and mediums work is you enter the plane, and because you function at a certain level, what you do is vibrate till you harmonize with the dimension that you're in. So when you have a digital instead of analog, which is amplitude modulation and frequency modulation, two complete different signals into one compressed signal, the world of the beyond will become the world of every day. And what the best and the funniest thing going to be watched is looking at surveillance cameras, videos taken by surveillance cameras. When you see these beings walking around, you'll see people in the surveillance cameras. They don't see the beings, but your camera will see the beings. And I think that that's another part of this Atlantean business that Michael was talking about. But so please, everybody, get high definition, get your little box. And when you're sitting watching your favorite show or sitting at the March Madness or sitting at Super Bowl, you think about mom or dad or your friends that sat with you and watched those who've passed, and watch them come and watch the game with you.
That's